Hello guys, this is Jyoti Rana. Hope you all are doing well. Today I am going to teach you mitochondria and chloroplast. Then we will go for the rest of the organelles. So let's start with the mitochondria. Mitochondria, the number of mitochondria per cell is variable depending on the physiological activity of the cell. In terms of shape and size, considerable degree of variability is observed. Typically, it is sausage-shaped and cylindrical, having the diameter 0.2 to 1.0 micrometer and length 1 to 4.1 micrometer. Sausage-shaped is like this. Come to the structure of mitochondria. This is the outer membrane. Outer membrane. Inner membrane. A folded structure of inner membrane. This folded structure increases the surface area of the inner membrane. Inner membrane increase surface area. And this single fold is known as crista. This area is known as matrix. We know that mitochondria is a primitive prokaryotic cell. So, हमें पता है प्रोकैरियोटिक सेल्स के पास कैसा डीएनए होता है? सर्कुलर डबल स्ट्रैंडेड डीएनए. A small piece of circular single piece. अब डीएनए है तो आरएनए भी बनेगा. RNA, then प्रोटीन बना है तो राइबोसोम्स भी प्रेजेंट है. राइबोसोम 70s राइबोसोम. प्रोकैरियोटिक सेल्स में कैसे राइबोसोम्स होते हैं? 70s. This is the area of cytoplasm. We know that mitochondria is present in a eukaryotic cell, and this is the cytoplasm. And here ribosomes are 80s. Mitochondria is a semi-autonomous body. Semi-autonomous. Like ये अपने most of the काम अपने खुद करता है. प्रोटीन एंजाइम बनाना. Then इसको क्या major function of the mitochondria is ATP formation. We know that mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. So ये क्या करेगा? ATP बनाएगा. ऐसे भर भर के ATP बनाएगा. अब ATP बनाने के लिए इसको क्या चाहिए? ग्लूकोज चाहिए. तो वो ग्लूकोज सेल से लेगा. So mitochondria is the semi-autonomous body. कुछ उसका अपना खुद बनाता है, कुछ वो बाहर से लेते हैं. दोबारा बनाएंगे यहाँ पे. आउटर मेम्ब्रेन, इनर मेम्ब्रेन, we know that mitochondria forms ATP. So अब इसको क्या चाहिए? ग्लूकोज चाहिए. ग्लूकोज कहाँ से आएगा? जब हम खाना खाते हैं, स्टार्च खाते हैं, तो वहां से ग्लूकोज आएगा. ग्लूकोज फॉर्म 2-pyruvate. This process is known as glycolysis. Lysis means breakdown, breakdown of glucose. Then pyruvate come into the matrix of the mitochondria. This is the matrix. Here pyruvate converted into the NADPH and FADH. This reaction is known as Krebs cycle. अब ATP तो नहीं बना, ये क्या बना? NADPH and FADH. One NADPH to form 3 ATP and one FADH form 2 ATP by the electron transport chain. Ab electron transport chain takes place in inner membrane. Infolding structures increase the surface area ताकि ETS chain जो जितना ज़्यादा एरिया होगा उतनी ज़्यादा इलेक्ट्रॉन ट्रांसपोर्ट चेन होगी, उतने ज़्यादा ATP बनेंगे. These are involved in the FADH and NADPH involved in the electron transport chain and forms ATP. ऐसे ही ये पूरे इनर मेम्ब्रेन में ETS परफॉर्म होते हैं. So the whole process from glucose to ATP, glucose to pyruvate, glycolysis, pyruvate to NADPH, FADH, then NADH to ATP through ETC cycle, electron transport chain. The whole process is known as cellular respiration. अब remember some important points. NADPH क्या बनाता है? 3 ATP. FADH कितने ATP बनाता है? 2 ATP. Glucose to pyruvate, the reaction takes place in the cytoplasm. Then pyruvate converted into the NADPH and FADH in the matrix of the mitochondria. This is the Krebs cycle. Then NADH to form ATP in the inner membrane by the electron transport chain. So these are the points you should remember. The next, each mitochondrion is a double membrane bound structure with the outer membrane and inner membrane divided its lumen distinctly two aqueous compartment, outer compartment and inner compartment. The area between the outer and inner membrane, this is lumen. Inner compartment is filled a dense homogeneous substance, that is matrix, and inner membrane forms a number of infoldings called the cristae towards the matrix. And the cristae increases the surface area. The two membranes have their own specific enzymes associated with the mitochondrial function. Mitochondria are the site of aerobic respiration. They produce cellular energy in the form of ATP, hence they are called powerhouses of the cell. Matrix possesses single circular DNA molecule and a few RNA molecule, ribosomes and component required for the synthesis of protein. Mitochondria are divided by the fission. When it requires mitochondria divided by the fission. Cell divide ho na ho doesn't matter. Mitochondria, if mitochondria requires to divide, then by the fission ये divide होगा. Come to the plastid. हमने तो क्लोरोप्लास्ट पढ़ा था, ये प्लास्टिड कहाँ से आ गया? On the basis of pigments, plastid divided into the three parts, classified into the three parts. First is chloroplast. We know that store chlorophyll, carotenoid pigments, site of the photosynthesis. Then chromoplast. Chromo means light, color. store fat-soluble carotenoid pigments like xanthophyll and carotene, gives the color to the parts of the plant like flower, red color के होते हैं, leaves green, and then all the parts of the plant. Leucoplast, we know that leukocytes are white blood cells. WBCs, white, leukocytes white होती हैं, colorless होती हैं. So leucoplast, colorless plastid. Aleuroplast store proteins. Aleuplast, LUOI, oil, store oils and fats. Amyloplast store carbohydrates. Come to the structure of the chloroplast. Chloroplast is also a double membrane bound structure. This is outer membrane. Then inner membrane. Inner membrane is less permeable than the outer membrane. This is inner membrane. This is outer membrane. Some disc-like structures are present in the chloroplast, like this. These are the thylakoids. And these disc structures are ये ऐसे एक दूसरे के ऊपर कॉइन्स की तरह होते हैं. इन्हें क्या बोलेंगे? ग्रेना. And this is the area of stroma. Stroma is also dark भी बोलते हैं, dark area. These grana are interconnected और भी होते हैं with each other. The connection between these through the stroma lamella. These connections are known as stroma lamella. So, chlorophylls कहाँ present होते हैं? Thylakoids में. Chlorophylls are present in the thylakoids. अब chlorophylls thylakoid में होंगे तो light reaction कहाँ होंगी? Thylakoids में, grana में, like sun. Light absorbed by the chlorophylls. So light reaction takes place in the grana. Light reaction. Then we know that chloroplast में क्या होगा? Chloroplast क्या करेगा? ग्लूकोज बनाएगा. Unlike mitochondria क्या कर रहा था? ATP बना रहा था. बट ग्लूकोज उसको बाहर से चाहिए. यहाँ पे क्लोरोप्लास्ट क्या करेगा? ग्लूकोज बाहर से कंज्यूम तो नहीं कर सकता, तो ग्लूकोज वो खुद बनाएगा. CO2 plus H2O form glucose in the stroma. So ग्लूकोज बनाने के लिए उसको क्या चाहिए? ATP. अब ATP कहाँ से आएंगे? The reaction CO2 plus H2O form glucose is known as C3 cycle. And these ATPs are come from the light reaction. अब light reaction कहाँ होंगी? Grana में. These light reactions are form ATP and these ATPs are consumed in the C3 cycle. This is the whole process, the whole chloroplast. Outer membrane, then inner membrane, thylakoids, chlorophyll, this is the stroma, and a small single piece of DNA, circular double-stranded DNA is also present. अब DNA है तो RNA बनेगा, RNA, then protein, प्रोटीन बनेगा तो राइबोसोम चाहिए, राइबोसोम्स आर 70s। अब साइटोप्लाज्म में कैसे राइबोसोम्स है 80s। साइटोप्लाज्म हो गया। हमें क्या याद रखना है, लाइट रिएक्शन, लाइट रिएक्शन में क्या याद करना है, कहाँ पे होती है, ग्रेना में होती है, क्या फॉर्म करती है, एटीपी। डार्क रिएक्शन, dark reaction is also known as C3 cycle, forms CO2 plus H2, form glucose by the CO2 plus H2O. This is the process, we should know that. Let's go. Majority of the chloroplast of the green plants are found in the mesophyll cells. अब mesophyll cells in the leaves में mesophyll cells होती हैं, उनमें क्लोरोप्लास्ट होते हैं। अब इनकी जो ये वेरी करते हैं, नंबर जो है वेरी करेगा, लाइक जो जैसे 1 to 20, 20 to 40 भी हो सकता है, 1 भी हो सकता है किसी में। These are cell lens shaped oval, spherical, discoid, even ribbon-like organelles having variable length and width. Their number varies from 1 per cell of Chlamydomonas. This is a green algae. Unicellular. एक ही सेल है, उसमें एक ही क्लोरोप्लास्ट प्रेजेंट है, 20 to 40 per cell in the mesophyll. Like mitochondria, chloroplast also double membrane bound. The two inner chloroplast membrane is relatively less permeable. The space limited by the inner membrane of the chloroplast is known as stroma. The number of organized flattened membranous sacs are called thylakoids are present in the stroma. Thylakoids are arranged in stacks like the piles of the coins called the grana and intergranal thylakoids. These are flat membranous tubules. There are flat membranous tubules, stroma lamellae, connected the thylakoids of the different grana. The membrane of the thylakoid encloses a space called the lumen. This is the thylakoid and the space is known as lumen. The stroma of the chloroplast contains enzymes and required for the synthesis of carbohydrate and proteins. It also contains small double membranes, double-stranded circular DNA molecule and ribosomes. Chlorophyll pigments are present in the